Into a new day. We can rise up from the dust and walk away.
I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and have the clerk call the roll. This is Mike, good for you.
Barnes.
Here.
Bradley. Here. Hastings.
Here.
Lynch.
Here.
Pistol.
Here.
Ward.
At this time, I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Make a motion we approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Ask for a roll call.
Barnes.
Yes.
Bradley.
Yes.
Hastings.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Pistol.
Yes.
At this time, you have the minutes from the March 12th meeting and also your monthly financial statements. I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve those as presented.
I'll make the motion to approve them.
Second. Any discussion? I'll ask for a roll call.
Barnes.
Yes.
Bradley.
Yes.
Hastings.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Pistol.
Yes.
Brings us down to department head reports. One from the Airport Commission is with us. I talked to Dan Clinton 2 days ago. The projects are still ongoing. We've got two things going on. You've heard the last several meetings. Runway lights are being changed out to LEDs. That's going well. Also, there's a new beacon that's going to be installed. Remove that one, put another. That's still going well. They received the bids on a 100 by 100 hangar with an 80-foot door. I don't think they were where they wanted them, so they I was going to rebid that. And I don't know when they're going to do that. Anything else on the airport? Thank you. Brings us to animal control. Also, I talked to Lori with SNP. She has 14 dogs. On Thursday, she's going to get rid of 5 of them. It'll leave her with 9 dogs and 5 cats. She's not taking any owner surrenders right now. Only if Officer Pike has a nuisance animal or an animal, for example, chasing cattle or biting cattle or a dog bite, they'll take that. She also talked about looking at the AC unit out there. We can take some bids on that and see if we can get that fixed before it gets hot. And I think our MOA with the county and with her is due in June. We'll work on that as that comes along. Tim Pike said the same thing. The shelter shut down. I think he had 9 calls with 0 pickups for dogs and cats. And he said he's only taken in a nuisance animal. All the shelters on that. So seems to be going pretty well. Brings us down to fire department report. We'll call Chief Webb in here.
Richard?
Yes.
Would you mind moving over just a little?
No.
Yeah.
Fire department report, Chief D.L. Webb. You can come up here and tell us everything that's going on.
Not a whole lot, just a whole bunch. We've had 3 grass fires this last month. We've had 2 pulls at the hospital. The stations, people had pulled them by accident. We've had 2 gas leaks. So as far as the fire department, that's what we've been doing. We've been getting things like masks. We don't have a lot of masks, but we're working on gloves, things that we're going to need. We're trying to get a stockpile up for the city, and we're also working with the county, giving them some stuff if they need it. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
I got a comment. I think y'all are doing a really, 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 really good job. I know you are. You're there all the time. Because they want to come in, they want to leave. Thank you. Keeping everything organized. It's going good. You're working well with Gina, I think, and the county, and that's key. Also, the work you're working with Jay Chalk in the school. Very much appreciated.
We went and got 7,000 pounds of chicken from Tyson over at Russellville the other day to help with the feeding of the kids, to keep that going at the school. Dale did call today. County judge called me today about this parade they're wanting to do next Friday. So we're getting that organized too.
Cool.
They're just going to be through the city for the seniors?
Well, the plan is to get it, whoever wants to be in the parade lined up behind the arena, and then we'll come down and go by Cash Savers, kids 65 and go to the nursing home, go that way around the nursing home, the way they can see.
So it's the seniors
No,
club?
no, not the seniors. No, this is the EMTs, first responders.
Oh, okay. Like a
Fire
first-
trucks.
Oh, okay, okay.
Cool.
And we made the news.
I know, that's so good. That was very nice.
We just try to do what we need to do.
Yeah.
A smile on people's
A
face.
good story, a good positive story.
Yeah, positive, positive, positive. That's good. Anything else for the chief?
Easter egg hunt, X-Day.
Easter egg hunt's gonna have to go away. We're not gonna be able to do it.
It'll be hard to find them eggs, isn't
It'll be
it?
hard to find eggs. So yeah, we won't have the Easter egg hunt this year.
Okay. Anything else for Chief Webb? Thank you. We may need you, we may not. If you
Oh,
don't
yes,
care,
sir.
would you send in Charles Wilson?
That
We'll
will
do the parks and streets. I didn't really amend that, but I think it's understandable. We'll just skip John and,
So he is our main contact to the city. He's like our EM right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Like, okay.
We meet every Monday in the afternoon, all the department heads, and county meets every Tuesday at 11. What's going on? I have a big one at 4 next Tuesday. AJ called. Hello, Chief Wilson. We're gonna go ahead and do both of yours. Let's start with parks.
I got, one guy's out and I've got somebody, he just stationed there. He doesn't come to the shop, he just goes there and does the mowing and weeding and he's doing a pretty good job keeping it up. Other than that, I mean, that's pretty much where we're at with parks.
I know you've moved some mowers around, maybe down there.
Yeah, we've been repairing, of course, that's the street department, we've been repairing everything that we could get caught up and repaired and fixed and trying to keep everybody busy. It's been a pretty good challenge,
Yeah.
keeping everybody equipment and everything to keep mowing and weed eating. But we're slowly getting ahead of it, so.
Can you tell us a little bit about the park? Because we've had a lot of calls, but the park's closed.
It's
and
walk
the park's
only.
open, so,
It's find you a place to park there and just walk.
okay.
I mean, we'd open it up, but then it'll just get packed. I mean, it'll
Well, somebody tried to tell me that, but I outthought you.
just get packed.
I like the walking trail open, you know, and you're right about that. Just kind of limit in the middle, just leave it alone because you
Yeah.
started, you know, and the parking you were 100% right on. I was wrong. I just thought, oh, if they can just get parking, it'd be easier. But, yeah, I
And
appreciate that.
that street's not bad to walk down. I mean, it doesn't add 30 yards to the walk.
If you're there to walk, and if it ain't, you know, if you can just stay on the flat, then get on the road. The other thing was mulch.
Yes.
We're still doing Friday mulch and,
We're doing Friday mulch, but with everything that's going on, some people can't get here at this time or get here at that time. If they'll call me and abide by my times that I can meet them there, I'll load them up anytime through the week. Do the best I can, because I know people are trying to put gardens in and trying
Sure.
to do stuff. And we'll meet up with them and do whatever we can for them. I mean, that's,
Somebody had it
I
on
mean-
Facebook, and I sent them to, call City Hall, and they
yeah,
get information.
Dina's having them, when they call there, Dina's having them call me, and I'm setting the time up and meeting them there and making sure they get mulch, because, I mean, we're off Friday. I think Richard said something about he was gonna kind of tinker around and load some.
I'm not good on the backhoe if it's got brakes. I'm
Well,
not
it's-
used to that, but
It's a little tractor, it's
No,
kind
it's
of,
good, yeah.
it's
I'll-
sketchy, but
I'll
it
get
works.
with you on that. Yeah, I'll load anybody out tomorrow.
I think William said something about he was gonna come in for a little bit,
Sure.
tinker around. and
Good
then-
Friday tomorrow, we're off, but I'll be
Yeah.
around
And then-
all day, and I'll get with you before we get out of here, and make sure I
Yeah.
know where the key is.
He's gonna come in and hang out for a little while,
Okay.
and then I'll come in and hang out for a little while. We'll kind of split it up between us, and
Well, you're off,
And-
do whatever y'all work, and you get some tails on.
everybody's at home. But even if you're at home and you're trying to do a garden, you still
Yeah.
gotta have supplies. You still gotta have stuff. I mean, that's just,
Me and William take care of that
More
tomorrow,
comfortable
they can call
with
you
it.
after 8 PM.
How many loads are you limiting per person?
no.
All you can get.
I mean, we got a lot of mulch still,
Wow,
so.
good, great.
and-
Okay, tell me a little bit about the pond. Is the pond open for fishing?
No,
or
pond's
not?
closed. Everything's closed there. I mean,
Okay, just a walking trail?
just the walking path only. I mean, if we open up the pond, you'll have 50 people down there trying to fish. So we're better off just just for safety's sake, let's just leave it closed. Everybody will catch back up once this is over with. I mean, just bear with it and stay quarantined the best you can. And it's tough. I mean, even me and my wife are getting mad looks at each other and what have you, but just struggle with it and go on. That's all I know. I mean,
For the people at home, just we go over exactly where they're supposed to park when they go to the park.
right now, Huddle House is doing real good. I think we had a little bit of conflict with
Don't want to
Subway.
drive through at Subway.
The guy at Subway kind of got a little aggravated. So, I mean, you got plenty of room there at Huddle House. I know that guy doesn't care. So,
We'll mention that to John too, and it's good to have control go through there, and you can't block the drive, you
yeah.
know.
So, but everything's going. I mean, so far everybody's doing real good. I mean,
I think so, I think so.
yes. I mean, we're keeping stuff mowed and cleaned up. And when we open it up, we hope everybody can just take off. I mean,
That'll happen. Anything else we're gonna go ahead and leapfrog, and go ahead and get you while you're here. You're right next to John in the agenda. Anything else on the parks, or we're gonna go to streets, but if you can go back to parks. Streets,
yeah, like I said, we finally got our big tractor fixed, got our side mower and everything going, so won't be long, we're gonna have to start catching up on some mowing. We've got these construction companies are destroying our highways. I don't think there's a city street in Clinton that they ain't cut a hole in. And we're gonna have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of street bills, and I know they're not gonna pay them, so we gotta get a hold of these construction companies that crushed the tile and just absolutely destroyed the tile, so we're gonna have to cut the highway up there and put in a new tile where they destroyed it. There's no regards to anything. I mean, they're not cleaning their messes up right, they're cutting holes and everything, they're not fixing them back. And when that water gets into them streets, we're gonna have some serious problems.
yeah, we need to get the patch on them pretty quick. I know we can rebid our stuff on that, so we talked about that. Also, while we're on streets, it kind of segues into that TAP grant with the school. I talked to the superintendent, Jay Chalk, and also talked to our engineering firm, and they said there was an April 15th we could submit bids, but everything's kind of just on hold and in flux, and he said it's no problem on that. And I also talked to Jay next week. I think I meet him on Tuesday. We're going to get all their easements, and we just had one easement from the city to get, and I called the owner of that land. He said that's no problem. Be glad to do it, so that's good. You got our pole started in there. I'm going to work on that tomorrow and get the rest of concrete in on that. And then there was talk about some drain work behind the old Canada Abstract, and I'm going to go ahead and mark out a pole. I would like you tomorrow, if you come in and look for a place to put that, if we move the siren eventually, where we need a pole, if we need a pole.
I looked at that. There's a antenna or a power pole back there. It's just a bounce supply,
Yeah.
and I think that antenna would work great there. It would actually be higher than what it is
Save us
now.
work.
So that'd be
You
good.
have stopped recycling.
Yes, I mean, it's a little bit inconvenient for the public, and I understand that, but Mr. Dale James has a recycling vehicle there at the annex building on the weekends. And if everybody, and he'll keep it there as long as everybody kind of goes by what they're supposed to do. I mean, put your cans in your cans, your bottles and stuff in your bottle deal. Don't mix them all up. And the way it is now is everybody just puts everything in a bag and we have to go through it. Well, that puts my guy at big risk. And they're older gentlemen, so
Yeah, just be respectful of your
Yeah.
site. Most people are. You know, just put the cans where the cans go and the plastics where the plastics go.
And-
Last two things I had for you was Junk Be Gone, which was April 17th and 18th, and on Monday the 20th, scrap metal. Obviously, we're just gonna do that. We're just gonna push it back. to the
push it
appropriate
back,
time.
and like I said, everything, it'll take a little bit, but we'll get back in the swing of everything.
And your Pettit Jean's gonna help us on a drop or something for that light that's out. We made at the 65 sign south.
The wire shorted out inside the box,
Okay.
and I can't do anything with it till we pull the meter loop. So I'll have to have
That's the
Pettit
light
Jean pull the meter
on the
loop
sign and at the south of
and
town.
get an electrician to
I
come
think
in.
you talked to me about that.
Yeah, it shorted out. We put a fuse and everything in it and popped it on, and it shorted out and blowed, and then we got to looking and you can see the wires are so old in there, they rubbed and shorted out against the sidewall. So it's kind of
Okay.
a dangerous thing there.
Anything else for parks and streets?
Richard,
Yes.
I mean, I just want to really support Charles on this stuff about these companies. I mean, you know, a few years ago, well, on Centerpoint and stuff that came through, and we had just paved, you know, 3rd Street. And I mean, and I saw them out the last couple of weeks.
There's
And
holes.
I'm glad my blood pressure medicine kicked in, because I knew once they left and I went back by there and saw where they had cut in, that it was not going to look like it did before
No.
they're just throwing some loose gravel or some heavy gravel on there, and it's, you know, it doesn't take but a few cars to go over it, and then you have a pothole.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, you know, what type of, legally, do they have an easement thing where they can come out on a city street, or do they have, I mean, it's something, I guess, Chad, I'd ask you, refer to you and stuff like that about, don't they have to leave it in the same condition that they found it in legally?
They really should be. And so what I would suggest is as that's happening, let me know about it. We can reach
Well,
out
see,
to the construction
they've
companies.
never contacted me. The only way I know if they've done anything is if I drive out there. They
Yeah.
used to, they'd have to call me and I'd come
Well,
out
the
and
guy
look
over
at
in
it.
Heber from Centerpoint used to call,
Yes,
and he did, and then I've still got that
and
number.
now
we
they
just
quit
call him.
calling and they're just,
That's what we had left, and just check with the street
Will,
department.
yeah, and it will, you'll send me a list of problem roads that we want to address with the construction company. The way it works is to contact them while they're out there on the job, because once they move on.
yeah, and this fiber optic, they put that in up there on the transfer station. They crushed that tile. They took a dozer and smashed it completely flat. And then drove off and left it, and the thing filled up, and we're out there in knee-deep water trying to find the end of the tile. We never did find the end of it, but we poked a hole in it and got it to start draining, and it back plumb up to the phone company.
I got close to
Filled that
disaster.
whole swamp up.
So when that happens, number one, let me know about it, but also track your expenses, track your damages.
Try to get some
If we
pictures.
can't get it fixed on the front end, on the back end, we'll ask for some money.
Okay, I'll get some pictures, then I'll get a disposable camera, try to get some pictures and get some stuff set up. And
Yep.
Well, I just know Charles does a great job at surveying our streets, you know, seeing where the needs are, spending our money properly every year, and then just to turn around, you know.
It's,
Sometimes, like I said, on that 3rd Street, that thing hadn't even been paved a month.
Yeah, right
You
there in
know,
front of
and
Danny.
then here, you know, somebody else comes in and just, you know, but people look at that and they think that's something with the city, that the
Yeah.
city did something.
even on Patton, I think there's 8
Oh, yeah.
cuts up there
Oh,
on
yeah.
Patton.
That's-
Every house has got a 3x3 square in front of the door.
Okay, yeah, we'll get the list to Chad immediately, and we pretty much know if it's gas or water, or
Yeah,
whatever
'cause
it is.
I see there's new plugs. They're putting
Yeah.
in some type of new plug system.
Well, like I said, that one guy we just kind of, it was pretty good to call us, and then if they change, you know, we need to contact.
Even if their line's here, I don't understand why they can't come in here and put the plug system in instead of just cutting out a big hole.
Yeah, never mind. Anything else for streets or parks for Charles? You guys are doing a great job.
Yep.
Thank
And like I
you.
said, anybody that needs mulch, give me a call during the week, and if they'll work with my time, we'll get them up. I know people's trying to get gardens in, get stuff done, so. All right, thank you.
Yeah, would you send John in? Thanks. Yeah. That Johnson, all right, no. What did you do, what did you see on the bus? Let's get their stories, let's separate them. Let's bring them out of a flashback. Well, Chief John Willoughby, police report. Welcome.
Get my eye protection on there. Breathe. Oh, all right. We're kind of clicking right along here. We're still out and about doing things, getting things done. We've had 91 calls for service. We've done 339 property checks during this coronavirus deal. We've assisted other agencies 11 times. We've issued 34 citations, filed 6 felony charges, and did about 40 hours of training and everything. Jay opened up 4 investigations and closed 3. And I was told that I needed to have y'all to vote to move my officers up. Eric retired and everything, so I'm needing to move the officers up into their slots.
No, we didn't catch that on the back end. That was, we were okay where we're at, the way I understand it from that.
Oh, well, that was
I told him he had to, but
where they had to get
We'll
their
do
pay.
it. They got their pay.
Okay, so they're doing their, okay.
Yeah, I'll move it up for you.
Okay, well, and other than that, that's all I got, guys.
Okay, thanks. Anything for Chief?
What are you talking about? About moving up?
Last
But
month, we
Oh,
went
okay.
over it last month,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and they,
Wasn't here last
we
month.
didn't have to have any kind of a vote to change names to promote within, wasn't that right?
Yeah, basically, he promoted everybody within. One
Yeah,
position went
position.
out, everyone else just sort of fills up the spot.
Okay. I apologize, I wasn't here last month, so
Yeah.
I was like,
That's
where
right.
are we here?
Oh,
Yes, yes,
welcome.
okay. Thank you.
And speaking of that, you got applications, or already hired somebody?
We already hired a guy, so we got him working. He's doing great. He's done 4 felony drug arrests since he's working here the last couple of weeks, so he's doing good.
Good deal.
Just make a kind of a general comment. I know, obviously life's a little different right now. People are all pretty much staying around family. A lot of good things about that, but there are some adverse consequences for some families as well. And I know nationally across the board, the concern is that domestic violence is going to go up. And I just want to make a comment. I know you're still responding to domestic violence cases.
Yeah.
I'm still going to be prosecuting domestic violence cases. The sheriff is still taking violent offenders
Yeah.
in his detention facility. And so just make that statement out there that if anyone sees any signs that that's going on, or if anyone's a victim of that, please continue to contact law enforcement. It's something that concerns me a little bit that's going on right now, because a lot of our social structures that are set up to detect those, they're not functioning right now. Kids aren't at school, so teachers can't identify that. People aren't at work, so their coworkers don't see that. And so just put that out there for everyone. Please be cautious. I know we're still doing our jobs and being proactive on that.
Yeah, and we are. I mean, we've had a couple, of domestic violence deals, but, they've kind of been verbal to where we could separate them and somebody could go somewhere else, for a little bit, so. But it's working, guys, so far so good.
Good deal. Thanks a lot. You send in Will Hinchy.
Okay, I'll send in Mr. Wade. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Y'all be safe.
Yep. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Will, I don't know if you need this or not. You may have a copy in the SMU. It's that RPZ list. I meant to give it to you, but I just ain't seen you.
Okay.
I know y'all been busy. We've left you alone. The water board, maybe the week of the 20th or 25th or something, whenever that works out.
Okay. Yeah, right now we've just told them we're not gonna have the meet next week.
Right.
Because ours is the second
Right.
Tuesday, so we're not gonna meet next week. We sent out all the agendas and everything out, all the info and everything. I'm gonna give you an update on today. We sent that out, so I'll just get started, and then you guys can ask me anything you want to. We're at 43% water loss on the Clinton water system, 57% at Burnt Ridge, and Denard is at 25. And water treatment cost was 79 cents a thousand this last month. It's staying really close into there. So I did have one update. The mayor had asked about just a quarterly, since we've got this new rate change and this and that, to see what it was. So what we did is we printed off this last quarter, and we printed off a year ago the last quarter. So, and I'm going to send everybody a copy of this. We just come up with this today before we got quitting time and this and that. But one thing I am showing is we're selling more water than we did last quarter. Quite a bit more water. So, in that last quarter, since I can't spread this out, you have to bear with me here. So, water sales this last year for this quarter was 829 million gallons, and this time it was 939 million gallons. So a lot more. And as far as the cost wise, it's looking about the same report as what I give you that first month. It's looking like we're right on track for that 500,000 difference for the whole year. So, but what I'll do is I'll have Donna email all this to you, and we'll highlight it just like I got it highlighted. This side right here is the water sales. This is the sewer sales. Now I will say this: the sewer sales has went down. So the sewer sales went down about, well, I'll tell you, about 50,000 gallons on our sewer sales. So I mean, they are using less sewer because of the higher sewer rate. But as far as the water side goes, it's about the same. And what that makes up, it's your in-town city customers that have really cut back on it.
Yeah.
But to make up the difference, and this is all, it's got the 1-inch meters, it's got every residential customer's inside out, it breaks it all down on the sales and everything. So I'll send you this. But our commercial customers are using more than what they did the year before. So a little update on the project. The only really project we got going on is the 65 North project. They are fixing to start at our our pump station number 1, which is the first pump station going up the hill, going north, and coming down with that last 8-inch line. And then it'll almost be finished, besides going back up north and redoing everything that slid. Right now, past Watergate Road is valved off, and all that new 8-inch going north is isolated. It's all slid. We went out 4 different nights in a row, and right now that new line's abandoned. We installed valves on both sides, and we're feeding off the 4-inch on the east side of the road. So if something happens with the 4-inch on the east side of the road, we're going to have to back up and regroup. But the highway department is going to reimburse us for our time and parts on those 4 different slides. But when it slid the 5th time, we valved it off, and they actually going to pay us and reimburse us for the extra valve that we installed also.
Yeah, and it's wet, and they're...
Yeah, they went in there and disturbed the earth. And when they disturbed that earth, it went to sliding. And we're right up there. It's not just us, it's the phone company too. We got fiber optic sliding and breaking too, so.
How is that on time-wise, getting
What they're saying on that is they're gonna have to go ahead and finish the entire project.
And then go back?
And then go back, and they're gonna have to, because that's a whole new change order, money order. And they'll have to go in there and redig. They'll probably do rip wrap, and then after they do that, they'll have the contractors relay the line that's moved, so.
Looks easier than it is.
How much is one of those valves?
That valve, I don't have it in front of me, of course, but an 8-inch valve is about $8,000.
And they're going to replace?
Yes.
They're replacing?
Yeah.
And you did 4?
Now, we just installed 1 valve, but those couplings that we had to use to replace those, they're an 8-inch Hymax like that, I want to say I think it's like $800. So when we used, every time we fixed a section, we had to use 2 of them. So we
Every time
put
they-
8 of them up there in the ground.
Every time that slide happened, the fiber optic got cut and we lost all communication.
Not every time, they only got hit once, but they're right there on the line right now. We're trying to figure out where we've slid this last time. They actually hadn't got cut yet, but they're trying to prepare for it and stuff. So what we did is the biggest issue with, luckily, that section of line, when it went out, we only had one road, Watergate Road, that was out of water because the valve that shut off that was on the influence side of how it feeds. So we went across the road and put another valve in, that way we could keep Watergate Road in the water. So.
And that'll also attribute to a lot of your water loss too, won't it?
Yes, and I did. We did go through there on a couple of things. Like we had a couple of deals at Denard where we drained the tank. So when we did that, we did a work order and said, all right, that's a 50,000 gallon tank. We're going to write down 50,000 gallons. And I did put that in here, but we've had, I think this last month we fixed 35 water leaks in the month we're talking about. And there's just no way of keeping up with, I don't try to guesstimate how much water we did. I mean, if we know, we do it, so.
Right. I read in your report or last month's about over the meters not reading right over Burnt Ridge.
Yes.
And, or the reader wasn't reading it right
Yeah.
or whatever. So
That does it.
A lot of water loss may be there, but it may not have been read right.
Yeah. You know, and I brought up last time, we had one customer up, she wasn't on the Denard system, but she's up North 65, and she called because her water had doubled, you know, even after we had raised rates. And we went up there and I pulled up her billing statistics and for the last couple of months, and she was using 2,200 gallons a month, every month. And then we went up there and it was 180 gallons. And the next month it was 0 gallons. So we went and put in a new meter and it was 4,400 for the last 2 months. So, you know, changing out those meters, it really shows. So yeah, we got a lot of water loss out there because of that.
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so last month we were at 40% and this month we're at 43.
Yes.
But then you fixed 35 water leaks, so.
So hopefully next month it'll be
even less.
less. Yes, it did go up. We had a lot of extra stuff you just can't account for. You know, you want to make up a bunch of numbers and
Right.
then.
We'd rather be accurate.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I also have another, sorry. I have someone that calls me just about every month. I'm out of water. I've got another water leak. They live out towards PD. I don't understand why, but they're always out of water. And I don't know if there's an old line. I don't
We
know
have a
if
lot of
it's
trouble.
just a lot of breaks up there.
We
or
have a
what.
lot of trouble out Highway 16. And just this week, we fixed 3 different Monday we fixed 2 water leaks on Highway 16. So it's class 160 pipe, and we've got over 200 pounds of pressure. So that 160 is supposed to be 160 pounds is all you're supposed to have on it. And we're running 200 and some plus. So, and it's really old line, and we're down there constantly. So.
Is that a project that we're looking at to replace those pipes?
It needs to be, but right now it's not on the 10-year plan. It is
It's not on our 10-year plan, but I'm telling you.
There's pipe rehabilitation, but we have not actually put down what sections we want to do. But we have appropriated money for pipe replacement. So.
Is there
Pretty
any
far
way
out
to neck
16
it down to
on the left.
160 or
Yeah.
Do what?
can you adjust the valve to neck it down to the right pressure or maybe?
Not and feed everybody with the right amount of pressure
Yeah.
towards the end of the line.
Yeah, I like you.
Yeah.
Why don't we put the
Because
headline
probably the lady that she
on the
talks
very end of it?
talking about,
You know,
she's the first one that runs out every
It's not
time.
10-year
And we,
plan.
with
It's not.
at great pressure, we've only got her about 40 pounds. And I mean, we're talking about perfect pressure.
No regulator at the house.
Yes, no regulator at the house. I mean, so yes, we've got a lot of pressure here. To get it to the ends of our lines, we have to have that pressure. The Burnt Ridge system, I'll tell you this, we go out there and if the influent pressure is about 110, those pumps will run 24 hours a day and never fill our tank at Burnt Ridge. So we actually have to have 150 pounds of pressure in order to fill that tank. And that's pumping it. Just the pumps are wore out. If we don't keep 150 pounds influent pressure out there, we can't fill our tank. But we'll go out there, and that's usually a telltale sign that we got a leak on the backside. And Monday, we fixed 2. So, we had one in the creek, and then we had one, just out past the mayor's place.
Okay.
Speaking of that, of our 10-year plan, you think maybe next month we could probably get our engineer, get over here and kind of see, you know, where we are, what you're looking at, to get maybe a little bit tighter,
Yeah.
you know, timeline.
He called me yesterday, and they were wanting to know if we were ready to go ahead and start these bonds and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, well, right now I think we're trying to wait and see if we're going to make any changes or anything like that. But I will say this, you know, we raised the rate saying that we were going to go through with this 10-year plan and take these bonds out, and you know, people were asking, when are we going to do that?
I would say because of the economy right now and the bond market, you're not going to get any cheaper money than you're going to get right now. So I would probably look strongly at what we can do what you guys can do to move forward in that.
Right now, they're waiting on me to say go, and you know, you have to be the final. This group of people have to be the final to accept these loans. So, you know, but yes, I can definitely. If you'd like for them to come and give another update, go over it. You know, look at our options, and in between now and then, I can actually call a couple bonding agencies. That way, we can have some numbers.
So also, I think Mick Parrish or commission may come and just give an update, and maybe meet back with our wholesalers. I mean, that was really productive.
Yeah, and I will say that we were looking, and in this report you'll see this, just looking at our wholesale customers from last year for this quarter that we're in, and this year, just B Branch alone, last year we sold them, let me make sure I'm doing it. Yeah, this is last year. So on B Branch, we were looking at 31 million for this quarter. And this year, for B Branch, we're at 43 million for this quarter. So our wholesale sales have went up too.
Good for us.
You guys need anything else?
Our pole yard project, is it gonna have to wait on some bond funding or to finish it, or what's the?
It's still, we gotta take those bonds before we do that, to get that money on that. That's the first one on the list.
Okay.
Because it's the one that's pending. I mean, it's the only one that's halfway done.
Like I said, our next commission meeting, and they will talk to me, I think maybe the week of the 20th.
I can set that up. Right now, I've just told them we're not having a meeting this month, so we can look into that.
Next council, maybe give a more in-depth update on all that.
So I'll talk to the engineers, and you know, there's several bonding agencies out there, so we can have, you know, that way I can have something else to report on that. But I do think it's something we might want to go on. You know, we've made promises. Before a year is up, I would like to at least do a project.
Yeah.
So.
Anything else for? Okay, thank you. It's a long way to Chimes.
All right, thank you guys.
Hey, you're looking older.
I know, thanks.
In a good way. I know you're working hard, buddy. Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
you.
Send in Tim.
I will. You need the rest of the guys to stick around?
Yeah, we just like watching them.
Okay.
No, I don't necessarily, no.
Do you guys have anything else for?
No, thank you.
What?
Man, there's a lot of work on that 65 North project. It's been
I
brutal.
was like, I can't
Brutal.
hear you calling and see.
I think state's figuring out
She's
what to do on the
Your
job.
mouth is just going like this.
I mean,
All right.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor?
all your exhaust
Oh,
is
my.
coming up.
Oh
Yeah, I
my.
know. Council, members of the gallery.
Yeah. Donald, Kim Clark, what do you have for us?
Right now, active projects, we've still got that mini storage going on. The Shell Station remodel down in Choctaw, it's Donnie Miller. We got a residential remodel going on, which is WindCap LLC, which is Cindy Walsh and Christy Eastridge. And that's kind of their new thing they're doing.
Where's that at? Oh, what we haven't.
Yeah, it's right across the street from Cindy's
I know
house.
exactly where that is.
Yeah, it's looking better up there, all around kind of, so thanks to everybody.
I like what they're doing,
Yeah, me too.
and they're just taking old houses and refurbishing them and then, resell them.
Because the Hensley house next to them, it looks a lot better than the one across the street, it's already looking better.
The one right beside Cindy,
Yeah,
they redid that one, and Christy Eastridge bought it and she lives there now.
yeah, I think that was a Hensley place, it's night and day.
Yeah, it's really nice. So far this year, we've done 4 commercial permits, 2 residential. We've done 4 sign permits, 5 electrical permits, 1 fence permit, and we're still waiting on the Verizon to pull those 2 cell tower permits. So I don't know exactly what the holdup is there. New businesses so far this year, we got 5.5. We've got Hinky Swinky LLC, Cowboy Cuts, Discount Outlet, Painted Main Salon, New Light Coaching, and Graham's Smokehouse Barbecue, which isn't quite ready yet. The cleanup effort, we got several places that have been cleaned up. We've got a long way to go, but we'll get there. Flood maps. Richard, have you mentioned anything about?
No, I was just looking at that, go ahead, it's about being in this year's cycle, we're finally in the tournament. We made the dance, so that was great news. You can tell them about that.
It's actually becoming a reality. What we've been talking about for 5 or 6 years. The application for funding went to FEMA. It got approved. So the money will be issued in August. And the company, the engineering company that's doing it is FTN, which is great. They're the ones that did the modeling already. My department head brothers are messing with me.
Modeling looks good.
And the modeling that we've got looks very promising. So that's the company that's doing it. And they'll start in September. So
we're in this year's cycle. Thanks to a lot of people, persistence, paid off. That detailed study will be funded by FEMA. It's going to do all of VBC. They'll look at the detail means just how many culverts and all that. So bulk of that's in Clinton proper and right around. So that'll help us. Like I said, the modeling looks really good. I don't want to jinx it, but it looks good. FTN is going to submit this. When they get that done, I think I understand this right. They submit it to FEMA, and then a fellow in Denton, John Bordeaux, he looks at it. I think a lot of trips to Little Rock, Eureka, and Hot Springs, and everybody jumping on board, our senators and congressmen, everybody, it's really helped. Be done by January the 1st. The second cycle will start next year, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, and the end result is it's started, so that's good.
Nothing's for sure till the check cashes the bank, and but our models look good and looks very promising for the city. They should be done with that detailed study, which is just basically boots on the ground. And they'll be done with that this year. It goes to FEMA approval next year. We could have final approval, could be February, March, could be August of next year. But the thing is, it's a reality now. So we're actually, it's finally going to get done.
Okay.
Which is a great thing for the city.
Any questions, anything else for Tim Clark? Are you heading out or are you sticking around? I don't know if I need you for
I can stick, I mean,
I don't.
No, we have, okay. You gotta get home before dark. Okay. Thank you, sir.
anyone?
You're a
Get
good
some
man.
taffy on the way out.
I'm good.
Brings us to old business, there is none. Goes to new business, the resolution for A&P class action lawsuit. I'll let,
You want me to tee it up for you?
yeah. I'll need a motion and a second for this resolution. Chad can explain, it's just kind of like Airbnbs, and maybe some money in it for the town.
I move we accept the resolution for A&P class action lawsuit.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Are we gonna read it, or?
Yeah, this is just a motion to
Just a motion to
put it on for reading.
put it on for read, yeah.
Yeah, I'll read it. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's resolution to appropriate the appointment of the trash law firm to represent the city in pending litigation seeking damages from online travel companies. Whereas in Pine Bluff, A&P Commission et al. Hotel.com et al. Case number 35CV-09-946, the Circuit Court of Jefferson County has entered a judgment in favor of the cities, counties, and A&P commissions against the online travel company, OTCs, and holding the OTCs liable for gross receipts, tax, and the hotel tax for all hotel rentals in Arkansas municipalities. And whereas the Circuit Court is deciding whether to grant the cities, counties, and A&P commissions supplemental relief for damages, plaintiffs are asking for full unpaid taxes, interest, penalties, and pre-judgment and post-judgment interest going back to 1995. And whereas the city has the opportunity to be included in as a plaintiff in this lawsuit and to be represented by the Thrash Law Firm, lead plaintiff's counsel, with no responsibility for attorney fees or expenses. And whereas the mayor, with the advice and consent of the city council, has the authority to appoint the Thrash Law Firm to represent the city in this litigation. And whereas the mayor has nominated Thrash Law Firm for the appointment to represent the city. And whereas as there is a need to confirm the appointment of the Thrash Law Firm to represent the city of Clinton, Arkansas in the above referred litigation, and to authorize the mayor to pay the required cost deposit. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Clinton, Arkansas, Section 1, the City Council of Clinton, Arkansas hereby confirms the appointment of the Thrash Law Firm to represent the city in Pine Bluff A&P Commission, L at Hotel.L at case number 35CV-09-946 in the Circuit Court of Jefferson County, Arkansas. Section 2, the mayor of the City of Clinton, Arkansas is authorized to execute documents necessary to retain the services of said law firm. And that's what's before us. We have a motion and a second, and it's basic, well,
I make a motion we adopt the resolution.
I'll say,
motion and a second. Any other discussion on that?
do you know, that, you know, the required cost deposit, we have a clue on it?
There isn't a required,
I mean,
yeah.
I know it said that, but
Yeah.
on top it said no need, but no cost, but just
There's no,
curious.
yeah, there's no cost deposit required on this one. This is kind of one of those, you know, if I don't win your case, you don't know me a dime sort of things. What the
Class
case,
action.
yeah. What the case is it's been going on for about 11 years down in state court in Jefferson County. And the gist of it is when you want to book a hotel in Clinton or any other town in the state of Arkansas, you go to Travelocity or whatever other online website, you book your hotel, they collect your money, and they have an inside deal with whatever hotel it is. They were not remitting, these online companies were not remitting the tax collected on that to the state.
The hotel
And so-
tax or the.
Yeah, A&P tax for us, also the state sales tax. So this has been going on for a while, trying to get a declaration that they actually did have to pay it. They did get the declaration from the court. Now the next question is, can they collect damages? And so we've been invited to involve ourselves in this litigation. This is not gonna involve a lot of work on our part, it's not gonna involve a lot of time on my part at all, most likely. It's just gonna be a matter of letting Tom Thrash know that we can go ahead and jump in, and he'll file a complaint with our name on it, along with, let's see, City of Conway, I think Hot Springs, I think maybe Heber Springs, and a lot of other towns around us that'll be on this, so. I don't know how much money is out there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the question.
I don't know how much
It's-
money could,
You know, I'm guessing it's probably something to do with what kind of might happen in the city or in the county or whatever. You know, if there wasn't nothing that really happened here, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going back, you know, it's gonna be going back as many years as we've had the A&P tax,
Yeah.
potentially. And that's gonna be a discovery question. Now, according to what has been ordered by the court so far, the companies have been ordered to supply that information, which means there's no requirement for us to go back and do any forensic accounting or anything like that, so.
This would
Kinda
also
like
be
a
like
class
a,
action.
It's a class action,
Class
except
action.
we're being ordered to specifically intervene on our own behalf, versus we're a class action, we would be named as a general
Yeah, don't they
public.
find you?
Yeah, they'd find us, so it's for, a procedural reason, basically, they're asking that we actually be a named party.
But we haven't had anybody probably that has done this in our city or county. It's just
well, if
just
they
want-
come, if one of the companies said, hey, I wanna go to the hotel here in Clinton, and they did it online, it would be.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any Airbnb or VRBO or something like that, that's probably much in the area, but
This is more, you know, one of the hotels that we have, they've got an agreement through, you know, Travelocity, Expedia,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not the local company, the local hotel that's gonna be responsible, it's gonna be this vendor online that's gonna be the party here that's gonna have to pay this money. So whatever deal they have with the local hotels, that was whatever the deal they had, so it doesn't involve them.
Okay, any other discussion on that? I'll ask for a vote.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Riley,
Yes.
Hastings,
yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol,
Yes.
2020-02.
Okay, thank y'all. Speaking of A&P, ordinance, next item of business new is an ordinance to temporarily suspend the AP and the A&P tax that we have on our hotels here. I'll entertain a motion in a second to put this on the first reading.
Make a motion to put it on the first reading.
Have a second?
Second.
Title is an ordinance of the city of Clinton, Arkansas to suspend the levy. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you need those guys out there for anything else? They're asking.
I can't hear you.
Do you need Tim and
Oh.
Theo for anything?
I don't think so either.
Sorry.
We'll get that into discussion. I'm gonna read this and discuss it, but no. I'm sorry, can't hear.
Sorry, never.
No, I'm sorry. Even my ears pushed forward, I can't hear. Yeah, sorry. It's an ordinance of the city of Clinton, Arkansas to suspend the levy of the A&P tax during the
Richard.
COVID.
We got a vote.
We have a vote, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Barnes,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Hastings,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol.
Yes.
I was just introducing it. Okay.
Carry on.
All right. This is the ordinance, city of Clinton, Arkansas, to suspend the levy of the A&P tax during the COVID-19 emergency and to declare an emergency. I'll read this and then we'll have discussion on explaining how we got here. Whereas the city of Clinton currently levies a 3% A&P tax as described in the Title III, Chapter 3.32 of the Code of Ordinances, and whereas on March the 11th, 2020, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson declared an emergency in the state as a result of the COVID-19 and that emergency is ongoing. And whereas the city of Clinton recognizes that the ongoing COVID-19 emergency has brought great economic hardship to both of the businesses obligated to collect the A&P tax and to the consumers obligated to pay said tax. And whereas the city desires to ease this economic hardship to the extent that it can by suspending the levy of the A&P tax during the ongoing state of emergency as a result of the COVID-19. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Clinton, Arkansas, Section 1, Title 3, Chapter 3.32, Section 3.32.02 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Clinton, Arkansas is hereby amended to read as follows. 3.32.02 Tax Levy Number 1. There is hereby levied a 3% gross receipts and gross proceed tax on hotels, motels, and short-term rental accommodations for sleeping, meeting, or party room facilities for the profit located with the City of Clinton, Arkansas. Number 2, the ordinance does not include the rental or lease of accommodations identified in Section 1 that are for periods of 30 days or more. Number 3, the Advertising and Promotion Commission created pursuant to the ordinance number 2008-02 is hereby authorized and directed to promulgate such rules and regulations and proceeds as are deemed necessary to carry out its duties and responsibilities under this ordinance and as may be required by the state law, provided, however, that any such rules, regulations, proceeds must be approved by the Clinton City Council. Number 4, the tax levied in this subsection is suspended during the ongoing emergency declared by Governor Asa Hutchinson in Executive Order 20-03 dated March 11, 2020, or August 1, 2020, if the emergency declaration has not been lifted sooner. Section 2, savings and repeal. That all the ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3, servability. That should any word, sentence, clause, paragraph, or provision of this ordinance be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, the remaining provisions of this ordinance shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, emergency clause. It is hereby declared that an emergency exists as there is an immediate economic hardship caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. This ordinance is necessary to preserve the peace, health, and welfare of the citizens of the City of Clinton, Arkansas, and therefore shall be effective and enforced from and after the date of its passage. Okay.
Now, do we need a motion to suspend the rules and put on a second and third reading?
We will, but we're going to vote this. We vote on this and then put it on it.
And before you can take a vote, you'll need to suspend with the second and third.
Second, third, if it's an emergency.
So I'll make a motion we suspend the rules and put it on the second and third
Well,
reading.
should we do that by title only? I don't think we can do
By title only, yeah, you can.
that.
Yeah, you can suspend it for title only.
Okay.
By title only, I'll make.
By emergency is title only, isn't it?
Who ran a pistol?
Because it's an emergency, really, let's see, just do it this way, it's fine. Yeah, just do it this way.
Who's second?
So we need to make a motion.
I made the motion.
Okay, then I'll second it. Do we do it by title only?
Any discussion? Motion and second. I'll ask for a vote for that.
Barnes,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Hastings,
No.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol.
Yes.
And I'll read the titles again. It's the ordinance of the City of Clinton, Arkansas to suspend the levy of the A&P tax during the COVID-19 emergency and to declare an emergency. So we have it on the first, second, and third reading. Is there any discussion?
We need to make a motion to adopt it now?
Something we make a motion to adopt.
And I make a motion we adopt the ordinance.
Motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
I second.
Now we can discuss it.
Now I can.
Yeah, okay. Now we'll discuss it. You can bring us into how, the discussion we had.
Yeah, the mayor and Tim Clark and myself, we met with Chuck Patel yesterday for a couple hours, and we went back and forth on this. The gist of it is this tax is not a tax on the hotel or motel. This is a tax on the consumer who uses the service. And so during this time period, the governor has suspended hotels for just leisure travel. They're only going to be open for emergency personnel or healthcare. If we did have a problem here and they had to have people come in to help us, they would have to be staying in our hotels and motels. So I feel like taking this tax off during this time would be beneficial to them. That's why I'm going to go ahead and vote for it. So anyone else have anything to say?
The only problem I have with it is we're gonna take this away here. What are we gonna do for A Plus Safe and Lock? What are we gonna do for Pistols Pawn Shop? What are we gonna do for Elite Automotive? The restaurants are in bad shape. Nobody's gonna go under because of a 3% A&P tax, and I just can't vote for it being a small business owner.
Well, again, I agree with what you're saying there, but it's not giving the hotel a break. It's not helping them whatsoever. They're not going to, when they collect the tax, I mean, they pay it, they collect it first. The only people it's going to help is the first responders or the medical people that might have to come here in the next couple months and stay here. We don't know how big this thing's going to get. It may not ever get any bigger than it is. Hope it doesn't. But if we have to have some first responders here helping us or some medical personnel, this would help them with their bill staying in the motel here in Clinton, Arkansas. And I think it's a good gesture.
But it's not, I'm trying to figure out where it was at. Can't hardly breathe on it. The difference in what I'm concerned or thinking about is the time frames that I didn't find it here, and I'm probably missing it. Like August 1st, 2020, in the emergency, does it go back? Does it get lifted after August?
No, this ordinance is going to defer the tax. In other words, between
for how long?
Until August 1st, 2020, or until the government.
Until it gets lifted.
Yeah, lifted.
Until COVID gets lifted.
Yeah, the executive order is kind of an indefinite executive order. It's a state of emergency that's just sort of.
And the other issue I have is I know we read it, but I'm tired of the emergency clause. So
well, this truly is an emergency.
I understand that, and I'm not saying it's not, but I am kind of like Jason said, and that was one of my why I'm saying no from the get-go is the fact of
I'm like you guys when I first.
I don't like the fact that we're talking about a 3% tax. Luxury, a hotel tax that it has nothing to do with the Best Western Hotel or the Super 8 Hotel or none of that. It has nothing to do with them. It's the people coming there and staying there.
Right.
But if you look on here, I've looked at it. You can go through town after town after town, and they have 3 to 5% hotel taxes on every town. I mean, there might be a few 2% ones. They're not. I mean, I don't feel like they're dropping theirs. I don't see that's an issue. So that's where my concern comes into. I would love to say, hey, let's drop even 1% of our sales tax for the next 6 months for all the restaurants in town.
Well, we couldn't do that because that sales tax is.
I'm saying I'd love to do it. I don't know what it can't be, but
yeah. But this is something we can.
And that's where I'm concerned on that.
Councilor Hastings, I was completely right where you are on your viewpoint last month, 2 months ago, because tourism in Arkansas is billions of dollars. We're not doing anything right now, and I think to give them a little bit of a break, even though they don't have a customer, they don't pay any sales tax. But if they do, then they pay it. They're not. I never did understand. It's not coming out of your personal pocket. This is a consumer tax. So I never did really comprehend that. But we lowered it because we thought they would bring in more industry. So it was higher. So we lowered it. Now we're going back to 3%.
Yeah.
They're still not happy. There's only 3 hotels, I guess, in Clinton. And so we were thinking that this would be in good faith to do this during this COVID. There are grants available, and there's assistance. There's SBA loans for y'all, for small business owners to get to help pay for employees and things like that. There's not really anything for them. So for the city of Clinton to do this, I think it would be good. And then in August, hopefully, it will be lifted, and if it's not, and we're still in an emergency situation, we can come back and.
But what I'm getting at is I don't see what this is gonna be an advantage to them, to the hotel. You're gonna, when somebody pulls in there and says, hey, we don't have to pay that 3%, so it's 3% less for you, they're not, I mean, they don't do that. That's the thing that I'm like, why this don't make a difference? They don't have, if they don't have the business right now, that 3% is not gonna help them just because they're not collecting it. That's where.
You're totally right on that, and that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any difference to.
And this is all this money goes to A&P, does it not?
Yes.
Okay, so what happens in August when A&P says, well, we don't have no revenue and we need
It's
help?
getting very close to having nothing in it right now.
Yeah,
And we're getting low in a budget of A&P. A&P is what helps the tourism of Clinton. I mean,
And
like
pay
that's
for-
what it does, our advertising and promotion, and
And
we're
pay
set
for
by the
people.
state of what we can do. Pardon?
I said, does it not, A&P pays for some things too, like the
Well, like
website
music in
and
the
stuff.
park, and things that we do in the park, A&P pays for. We give like 10,000, or I think the budget this year is like 14,000 for 4th of July fireworks. If we, that could be completely gone too if this
Yeah.
COVID hasn't lifted. So A&P does a lot for the city, but right now the hotel and motel is paying for all of it. So anything that we do that promotes, that's what they're doing. So they're like, you give us something, we give you something.
But they're not, I mean.
But they're not,
paying.
because the consumers are doing that, yes.
Yeah, one of their appointments they made, like I said, it was 2 hours and
Yeah.
then some. One of them is a lot of these other places is, one of their points was, a lot of them have the hamburger tax. He said, we just, yeah, I know, I'm just.
And I feel like that's what he's trying to do is they are trying to pull that and say, hey, let's drop this, because we want to push this hamburger tax in. I won't go for that ever. I mean, if the people want to vote for it, then that's it. City
I just
council,
think it
I'm not
sets a
voting for it.
dangerous precedent for anything else going forward. Like if we do a hamburger tax, something happens, there's bad beef coming from wherever, McDonald's, they're not going to go out of business because they can't sell cheeseburgers. So McDonald's says, oh, well, hey, can we drop a hamburger tax? We're not selling Big Macs this month. I think it's dangerous going forward from here on out. And I would rather, the hotels is one thing, Super 8's going to be here, Best Western's going to be here. You made Elite Automotive, Webb Family Auction, Frank's Hickory House. All the businesses coming this way, they may not after this is over. So I would rather come up with a way to help our local business that's not backed by a franchise than to help a franchise, because I just, like I said, it sets a very dangerous going forward from here on what people can ask for.
Okay, I want to say one more time, this is not going to help them. Taking this tax off is not going to help them whatsoever. The only person it's going to help is the consumer. And the consumer during this time period could possibly be some healthcare professionals that are coming here to help us with our virus problem. If we get a big problem here, they're going to need hotel rooms to stay in. This is a good faith effort to drop that tax for those people in the next couple months if they do have to come here and stay in our hotels and motels. That's the way I look at it. I don't look at it as we're helping the business. We're helping the end consumer who may come here to help the people in our town.
So we're talking at $75, we're talking $2.25. If they have a $75 a night room, that's $2.25 that their bill's gonna drop.
Well, it just looks bad for our city to have people coming here to help us, and we're taxing them.
But
this extra tax, you know.
this is a state thing. I mean, the state puts it on there that says, I mean, you know, right here, I'll read it right here. Arkansas gross receipt tax at 6.5%. Arkansas tourism tax at 2%. The local sales and use tax, and then it talks about A&P taxes for all of these. Now this where I'm getting this from, and that's where I got to throw that in. That Arkansas tourism tax, that is for like your Airbnbs, your VRBOs. You know, that's that. There is a tourism tax that should be on there also. But A&P tax is all these Batesville, Bella Vista, Bentonville, Eureka. I'm just saying that it's I see what you say on the fact that we're helping out, but we're talking $2 or $3.
Well, the problem, the problem with your argument there is that this thing is happening now. And for all we know, the city councils,
Yeah.
they're meeting other places, are doing the exact same thing we are. We won't know for another
Yeah,
month or two.
I can't
what other
answer
people are
that.
doing. But all we can answer for is what we do.
I understand. I can't, I mean, you know, but
Well, when Tony came month before last, and he was,
his whole idea is he wants us to put a hamburger tax on it. Because
They're
it'll
tired.
generate more money.
they're tired of paying there's 2 or 3 hotels, and the restaurants are not getting that tax. So he's saying, we're doing all of it for A&P. So what's other businesses doing for A&P? So that's their beef, literally.
Conway's A&P tax is 2.25%. Combined with their sales tax is 12.75. Still,
You see what all
Higher than
Conway
ours.
does with their A&P tax? They do
Exactly.
splash pads. They've got a hamburger tax. They've got lots of stuff that we can't ever do.
and we're fixing to cut our throat on it. I mean, it's
Guys,
just,
we're getting off topic talking about that. We're not talking about doing a
I
hamburger
just feel
tax.
like that's
We're
what
talking
it
about
is.
trying to help the end consumer in this state of emergency. It's not anything to do with hamburger tax, what we're gonna do later down the road. I don't even know why we'd even bring that up and discuss that here. This is talking about temporary removal of this tax during this emergency to help the consumers who may be, or may not, who may have to come here and stay in our motels and help our people.
I figure that the percentage of hotel usage has been cut in half. I mean, I feel like that. But I still think it's better than the percentage of what one of our restaurants or one of our businesses or whatever that's in the city has been cut. They have probably been cut to 10% or 90%, 80-90%. What I'm getting at is back to the fact that there is a little bit of that money that helps the A&P out, even if it's 50% of what they were getting. Now you're trying to cut it back to nothing, and then the A&P's going to come back and say, "Hey, we need money." So then the council's going to have to give them money to do it, and that's just that much more money that they're going to have to give them for $2 or $3 per night stay.
Well, it's only going to be till August 1st, and I don't think we're going to be doing any advertising and promotion of the city while this is going on.
I understand.
That's going to be cut out for a while. So
We've cut our budget probably, what, Jeff?
we've cut the budget quite a bit.
We've cut our budget it is so tight. It's never been this tight this year.
I understand that.
And I can see the motel people, I can see their grind. I can also see ours, and I can see A&P and what we need to do and what we need to do as a budget. But I think this is a good, like I said, I was probably right there where you were just a couple months ago. In good faith, just an emergency, just till we get over this.
Okay.
one of the strong suits of this community is this community always shows up and always helps whenever there's an emergency. They always do the right thing, and this is doing the right thing. This is what this is. It's in the event that we do have a problem here and we need help from the outside, we're doing the right thing, saying, if you're going to come help us, we're going to help you.
Anyone else?
Why are y'all looking at me?
No, I don't say it.
Because I haven't said anything yet. Well, I kind of look at it on both ends. I gotta take the math. I can't.
I probably should have read
I see kind of both sides too. I remember we looked at it and when we lowered it thinking that would help, but in actuality, I don't think it really did. And so that's why we looked at go ahead and putting it back at 3%. Most of the things, I say now probably a state rate's probably about $100 a night. But if you have people coming in that are any kind of federal government or state government and they pay that rate, if they pay it out of their own pocket, they're going to get it reimbursed. So whatever tax they collect or charged, they're not losing any money by that. And probably the only people right now that probably outside of what the governor said on his proclamation would probably be, the truckers, being able to stay because they're maintaining the supply chain. So, and I don't think when you look at it, not that great of amount of money that we're talking about. But the problem now, you know, I'm thankful for the discussion that we've had, is the fact that I just worry about suspending something, then putting it in place, and you have a segment of the business community saying that it's not fair anyway that we're paying this, because other businesses that are tied to the tourism industry are not paying what they would consider their fair share. And so my concern is that you suspend something, you bring it back, and then this segment of the business community is already threatened to sue the city because of what they feel is an inequity in the tax base or the tax structure or revenue generating or whatever. And so I don't want to put a bullet in the gun that somebody's going to fire at me later on and it be used against the city. Well, you suspended it, we had it, you suspended it, now you're putting it back on, but nothing ever has happened to these other segments of the business community. We feel that's discriminatory against us, and so why did you put it back? You should have just kept it off, but you didn't. And so, you know, I don't want a judge or a jury looking at something like that and
I thought that too.
And not being from this community. And I agree with Jeff. I've never lived in a community that supports people and businesses and organizations stuff like Van Buren County does, and Clinton and Fairfield Bay, Shirley. I've never. It's amazing what people do and what businesses do. But you know, I'm hard pressed now to vote yay on it, just for the very fact that this same group came and said, well, if you don't give us what we want, we're going to sue you.
Okay, can I, I'm gonna address that for you, because that aggravated me too. And at this meeting yesterday with Chuck Patel, I told him that. I said, your man came into our meeting and threatened to sue us. And he says, no. He said, he does not represent me. He says, I have no desire to sue the city of Clinton. He told me that out of his own mouth. And he said, neither does she. The other girl who owns the Best Western, her name is Divine Patel. That was all. Tony was not authorized on behalf of them to threaten to sue us. And he said, we are not going to sue the city of Clinton. So I just wanted to be sure you got that information. And second of all, I'm glad you mentioned the truckers, because a lot of truck drivers stayed at that Super 8 motel. A lot of them do. So we were giving them a break too. And they're out there on the front lines every day making sure we get, you know, our Walmart gets stocked and our Cash Saver store gets stocked. And I just think this is the right thing to do during this period while we're having this crisis.
Okay. Anything else?
Based upon what you said, of suspending it, putting it back on, we do that all the time. We spend hours and hours in committee making an ordinance and amendment, and then we go, wait, we're going to go back and we need to amend that. And I think that's transparency, that we're human and that we have really come back together and collaborated as a community and as our constituents would want us to, or what we think. You know what? We made a hasty decision, or we really should have thought about that before we voted it. We should have put it on the board and just held off just a little bit and think about it and get some community input, people who've put us here and elected us. So I think it shows transparency, like to say, is this really what we want to do? Or what? And I think, like I said, Sean, I was like that just less than a month ago.
That's where the emergency part of it. And I understand what it is, but here we are again. We're in the same boat that we was 2 months ago, with problems we're still trying to address.
Right. But this is a state of emergency. This is a novel. We have never been in this situation before.
Yeah, the governor has declared.
I understand
This isn't-
that.
Nobody's
I understand
gonna
that, but is it, I mean, you know, we do this and then the public's gonna say, why? Why did you do that? You didn't ask nobody, you just did another emergency and did it. I mean, you know, I see that. And here again, I mean, we can't read it, we can't talk about it, and then make the change 2 weeks from now, or week 2 weeks from now, even in a special election. You know.
Well, because tourism is so big in Arkansas, people were coming into our state.
But right now, there's no tourism at all.
Because we're rural. Now we're saying you can't come in our state
Yeah.
and go to our parks because they're closed. So people are not going to come to Clinton and stay in our hotels probably.
Well, I mean, we're one of the few states that it has not been a shutdown state.
Right, right.
So,
I mean, this is a weird situation because there's, you know, what's going on. We're social distancing. We're all wearing masks. But we do have 2 people of the community here. I mean, I would like to hear if y'all want to weigh in on this. If we'd like to get some input while you're here, if you have anything to say.
I'll say this. The state has already gone back and had to look at its budgets because they recognize their projected revenue is way off, and they've only got 2 months left in their fiscal year. And I believe yours runs concurrent with a calendar year, does it not?
yeah.
Okay. Whatever budget you guys approved in December is not going to be the same at the end of this year. And I don't know if you've talked about that. I was a couple minutes late. You're already going to have to go back and figure out your budget. Now, I don't know A&P, whatever. A&P, I understand cities need it or whatever. But the people that are going to be staying in these hotels over the next period of time, truckers get a per diem reimbursement. And as somebody else pointed out, state and federal workers get reimbursed, government workers get reimbursed by the government. So we're taking federal or state tax dollars and putting 3% into the city with this tax, basically, over the next 2 or 3 months. Also, if we're being honest with ourselves, the medical workers are getting a pretty good deal from the feds and the state right now anyway. They're getting a lot more than the $2 you're going to get on your ticket at a one-night stay. So, excuse me, I'm about to pass out myself on this thing, but it does not look, it looks like a very nice gesture, but I can't say that we're going down on the right or the wrong side of history by saving somebody $2 a night that they're going to get reimbursed for from their employer or from the government, which you guys and me are paying for anyway at the end of the day. It looks like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and your A&P budget is already shot for the year anyway. I'd get all I could out of it.
The A&P budget, the biggest thing in the A&P budget is the fireworks, and we've already paid for that. We've already got that paid for and done. The other stuff, you know, music in the park, all that's not going to happen. So we don't need the budget for that anyway the next couple months. So it's just
Okay, anything else?
Did you want to talk?
No, I'm lost of words.
You're lost of words? The mask is too tight.
Now, Richard, let me ask this. This ordinance, did it come from A&P? Did it originate A&P? In other words, did the A&P Commission look
yes,
at this ordinance?
I'm on A&P Commission. Gayla's on A&P Commission.
Did y'all look at this?
No, this is new. This ordinance is new since COVID. I mean, this right here.
So we're
But you hadn't had a meeting, A&P hadn't had a meeting to talk about it first.
No. No, we meet at the end of the month after our city council meeting.
Well, I'm sorry.
But we've talked to members on A&P.
We have.
Yeah. We've discussed it with them. Well, we had a 2-hour meeting with the hotel, and they were on A&P. I don't know what their status is right now, but you know, Lori's was A&P.
Sammy's usually here. He's on A&P, and Jeff and I are on A&P. And I don't know how Sammy was because I didn't talk to him about it.
Sammy said he originally said he was for it, and then I said, well, I don't know. The rest of them sound like they're against it. He said, well, I'll just whatever y'all think. you know, he didn't really care.
Okay, we have the motion to adopt this with the emergency clause on the reading and then second and third by title only. Any other discussion? Thank you all. I'll ask for the clerk to make a roll call for the vote.
Orange.
I'm gonna vote no on this, and the major reason I'm gonna vote no is because it has not been officially presented to the commission that should look at it before it should come to us. There's some other good points and stuff, but I've always said, you know, don't put something in front of me that somebody else should have been looked at and voted on before it comes to the council. I don't think that's a good practice. It doesn't make any difference what the ordinance is, whether I agree with the ordinance or don't agree with the ordinance. But I can't vote yes on something that has not followed the correct, what I believe to be the correct procedure before it becomes to the city council. So my vote's no.
Bradley.
Yes, and Tim is commissioner for A&P, and he was here. We could have brought him back in, and we could talk to him about that. But he does know about this. So, yes.
Hastings.
No.
Lynch.
No.
Pistol.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance fails. Brings us up to City Hall location. Thank you. Mr. Barnes did mention something about city always pulls together and helps out. Our local dentist is moving back in the building that we're renting from. Originally, it thought he'd move over on the other side. We just keep renting the side we're on, but he's not doing that. He needs back in his own office. So I had to go out pretty quick and start looking for a spot for City Hall. Looked around for a place to rent. We rent. So I looked at the old available buildings. I looked at the old Canada Abstract, talked to Robbie about it. She really wasn't interested in renting it. So I asked her if she'd give us a price, and she said, let me talk to my brother. She thought about it, called me a couple days later and said, I've talked to Billy and Jamie, and we decided we'd like to donate that to the city of Clinton. So that's one price that none of us can argue with. We're very, very grateful for that. So that's a good thing. Now she said it does need some things. You have to look at the heat and air. It needs a system. We're going to put some money into it. But we cannot complain about the price of the facility. It's adequate in size, it'll be enough for us. I'll pass around this. It's got, this one has a square footage about 1936 square feet.
Definitely laid out better than what you're in now.
It's the location is amazing for City Hall. It's dead center in the courthouse. It's on the court square. The information we got on the floodplain is really looking good. It's like a no-hitter. I don't want to jinx that, but that was an amazing offer for them, and I didn't want to turn that down. So we can sign that over to us maybe Monday or Tuesday. She's in the process of moving out. I'm looking at, you know, how to fix it up, what we need to do to renovate it. Of course, we can't carte blanche it. It's mentioned in our budgets, everybody's to be strained. We have money available. I'm going to spend all this coming week looking at the heat and air, the electrical, and the layout of it. Come back as quick as I can to the council and say, here's what we're looking at. What do we want to do with this? You tell me what extent we want to do. But I do want to say a big thank you to that family. That family served the community for a long time. Big Canada and their family, and David Dre's parents, and Jeanette, and Jamie, and Billy, and Robbie. So, I don't guess I need a motion and second to accept that, other than just say thank you. We're going to be moving, and as quick as I can by then next week, hopefully I can come back with some real figures. They're in the process of moving out. I think Jamie's wanting to move in, and he's got to have some work done, so I'm still working out on our date to leave. So, that's when I also talked about the tornado side. We'll move that too. And I think we already have a place. There's some issues that a lot of us in the street department, like drainage and all that. So we have some people on staff that can save the city a lot of money. So I just wanted to mention that. So very grateful for that. That's the new business we have.
That's wonderful.
Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, the one thing we kind of discussed, I think as we move toward and in this kind of uncharted waters and all that kind of stuff. And I know we had our meeting set up and we've got masks and everything, but I'd like to see us probably move to using more of a Zoom meeting or teleconference thing. I don't know, Chad, I don't know if, I mean, there's been some laws that have been waived, but I don't know if anything on the municipal thing has been waived yet, or asked for a waiver, if we can do stuff like that or not, so.
So, yeah, where we are right now, there's been a lot of talk about that, trying to figure out, what we can, what we can't do. Nothing with regard to open meeting laws and Freedom of Information Act has changed as a result of this. None of the governor's executive orders affected this. We're wearing masks because it's been recommended. We're not mandated to do it. We're doing 6 feet of social distance because we're recommended. We're actually exempt from the governor's directive on gatherings, social distancing, because we're the municipal government still supposed to operate. There is some rumor, and that's all I really call is rumor or speculation, that maybe the General Assembly might make some changes that would allow municipalities, counties to maybe meet by video conferencing. But unless they do something on that, this is what we've got to do. But there has been some discussion. Municipalities are a little different from the county in the sense that we actually do not have an obligation to meet. We don't have to meet every calendar like a county does. However, the county, the business of the city still has to move forward, and you can't collect yourself as a governing body any other way than doing this right here. So, at least as of now.
Thank you. I just wanted to know. I just knew there had been some changes and some things.
And if that changes, like you said, you can ride herd on that and take over there, talking to Jason, probably.
I've been watching the governor's press conferences just about every day. It's become a regular occurrence. We get the executive orders as they come. I pass them on. Municipal League has been very proactive in keeping everybody informed. There's a city attorney listserv where information kind of gets bounced around. So it's interesting how to be a lawyer because the law changes every couple hours. So,
okay, anything else? Public comments? Adam? Okay. Warren, not a lot to choose from. I don't mean that in a bad way, Warren. Boy, you got anybody to work with. Finally, I'd like to say, let's just focus on the positive, and I think we're doing that. As was mentioned, our second and third quarter, I do want to meet maybe on the 20th with our budget. It's going to look okay right now. The second and third, we'll talk to the department heads this week. I already have and said, start looking at, okay, I need to cut this or that, whatever. And we'll meet next on the 20th, I think. We'll try to, or somewhere about. So I'll get with the budget group and have a workshop there. Same, I told Will on the commission. I think that's around the 25th, the week of the 20th and 25th. I want to meet with them. I did want to say thanks to the department heads. They're all just working their guts out. We're very grateful for that. Also, Dina Malone and Alicia Duncan, they went over there and they laid this out, and they gave I should have passed that around too, of this layout. It's a very good plan. It saves a lot of time if you're going to put heat and air or anything else in it. They built it the way it was. They didn't want to move a bathroom over here that belongs here. They worked around the plumbing they had. This is a great time saver. Spent a lot of time on the weekend doing that. Thank you all for that. Appreciate the council, all the discussion we had, all the city leaders, the Tomlinsons. I can't say enough about them, what they've done for the city. That's a very generous gesture. That's a phenomenal location. And that building has a lot of sentimental value to them, I know. And when Rabia called, it was really a godsend. So we're very grateful for that. Also, I mentioned that the quarterlies. I want to look at the water, look at the city. Esther Bass, I think, has a group down on the square. They're going to be spread out tomorrow from 7 to 7:30 on Good Friday, praying over the city and the county. I wanted to mention that for him. City will be off for Good Friday. I'll be around loading mulch. If anybody wants it, or William Hunt or Charles, or for me. So try to get one of those two so that you don't get your truck bent. That's all I have. I think Monday we'll meet again, the city department heads, and Tuesday Dale will have his weekly county address with all everyone. That's helpful. And then that afternoon at 4, we're going to have a big, I heard from French Hill's office right before we had the meeting. I think French is going to be on the call, so we're getting a pretty good group, and people can call in and ask questions and concerns and express them. Anyway, that's all I have. I want you to stay safe, be positive, work hard. Be grateful for where we live, and I know you all are. I appreciate all your work and your time you put in to try to serve others. Keep helping others and working hard. Thank you. I entertain a motion in a second to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Step into a new day.